1996 October, where the events of the first Scream happen, and this is that film. In October 1996, high school student Casey Becker receives a flirty phone call from an unknown person during which they discuss horror movies. However, the caller turns sadistic. He reveals that her boyfriend Stephen Ort is being held hostage on her patio and demands that she answer questions about horror films. After Casey gets one wrong, Steve is murdered in front of her. When Casey refuses to answer more questions, she is murdered by a masked person. Shortly after, they find her disemboweled corpse hanging from a tree. The following day, the news media descend into the town and a police investigation begins. Meanwhile, Sidney Prescott struggles with the mending first anniversary of her mother's marine murder by her lover, Cotton Wary. While waiting at home for her friend Tatum Riley, Sidney receives a taunting phone call. After she hangs up, she's attacked by the killer, but evades him. Sidney's boyfriend, Billy Loomis, arrives shortly after, but after he drops his cell phone, Sidney suspects of him making the call and flees. Billy is arrested, and Sidney spends the night at Tatum's house, where she received another call. The next day, Billy is released and suspicions shift to Sidney's father, Neil Prescott, as the calls have been traced to his phone. School suspended in the wake of the murders. After the students have left the school, the killer stabs Principal Hembry to death in his office. Tatum's boyfriend, Stu Masher, throws a party to celebrate the school closure. It's during this where reporter Gail Weather attends uninvited to cover the situation, as she suspects the killer is going to strike. Tatum's older brother, Deputy Sheriff Dewey Riley, also looks out for the murderer at the party. The killer corners Tatum in the garage and murders her by crushing her neck with the garage door. Billy arrives to speak to Sidney privately, while Dewey and Gail investigate the area nearby. Many party attendees are drawn away after hearing news of Hembry's death, leaving only Sidney, Billy, Randy, Stu, and Gail's cameraman Kenny. Sidney and Billy are confronted by the killer, who attacks Billy. Sidney narrowly escapes from the house and seeks help from Kenny, but the killer slashes his throat. Gail and Dewey, having discovered an abandoned car that belongs to Neil Prescott, make their way back. Gail tries to escape in her van but drives off the road to avoid hitting Sidney and crashes. Meanwhile, Dewey is stabbed in the back while investigating the house, and Sidney takes his gun for protection. Stu and Randy appear and accuse each other of being the killer. Sidney retreats into the house where she finds Billy wounded but still alive. She gives Billy the gun before he lets Randy into the house and shoots him. Billy reveals that he has feigned his injuries and that he's actually the Ghostface killer, with Stu shortly outing himself as his accomplice and the second Ghostface killer. Yeah, there's two Ghostface killers. Billy and Stu discuss their plan to kill Sidney and pin the murder spree on her father, whom they had taken hostage. The pair also revealed that the two of them murdered her mother and framed Cotton for it, and she was having an affair with Billy's father, which drove his mother away. Gail, who survived the crash, intervenes, and Sidney takes advantage of this to turn the tables on her attackers, knocking out Billy with an umbrella and dropping the television set on Stu's head, which kills him. Billy then awakens and attacks Sidney, but Gail shoots him. Randy is revealed to be wounded but alive, and remarks that the killer always surfaces for one last scare. Sidney takes the gun and shoots Billy in the head, killing him for good. As the sun rises and police arrive, Dewey, badly injured, is taken away by an ambulance, and Gail makes an impromptu news report about the night's events.